What if one touch could cost you your life? Imagine standing before a golden chest that looked no different from any other treasure. It wasn't surrounded by fire. It wasn't protected by an army. Yet every Israelite knew one terrifying truth: no one was allowed to touch it. Years later, one man would reach out with what seemed like a good intention, and in that very moment, he would lose his life. But before we discover why that happened, we must go back to where this incredible story began. More than 3,000 years ago, after God rescued the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, he called Moses up to Mount Sinai. There, God gave Moses his commandments and detailed instructions for building the tabernacle, the sacred place where his people would worship him. Among everything God commanded them to make, one object was more sacred than all the others. It was called the Ark of the Covenant. This was no ordinary wooden chest. It was carefully crafted from acacia wood and completely covered with pure gold, both inside and outside. Around its top was a beautiful golden border. 4 gold rings were attached to its corners, and long wooden poles covered with gold were placed through those rings so the ark could be carried without anyone ever touching it. On top of the ark was the mercy seat, made of pure gold. 2 golden cherubim faced each other with their wings stretched over it. This was the place where God promised to meet with his people. Inside the ark were the stone tablets containing the 10 commandments that God had given to Moses. The ark was a constant reminder of God's covenant with Israel, his faithfulness, and his holy presence among his people. Because the ark represented God's presence, he gave Israel very specific instructions. It was never to be treated like an ordinary object. Only the Levites chosen by God were permitted to carry it, and even they were never allowed to touch the ark itself. They were to lift it only by using the poles that remained in its rings at all times. This was not because the ark had magical power. It was because God is holy, and he wanted his people to approach him with reverence, obedience, and respect. Every instruction mattered, and every command had a purpose. As the years passed, Israel found themselves at war with their greatest enemies, the Philistines. In one fierce battle, the Israelites suffered a painful defeat. Instead of seeking God in repentance and asking why they had lost, the leaders made a dangerous decision. They said, "Let us bring the Ark of the Covenant from Shiloh. Then it will save us from our enemies." When the ark arrived at the camp, the soldiers shouted with excitement. The ground shook with their celebration. They believed victory was now certain because the ark was with them. But they had forgotten something very important. The ark was never meant to be a lucky charm. God's people were called to trust him, obey him, and walk faithfully with him, not to depend on a sacred object while ignoring his commands. Without realizing it, Israel had made a mistake that would change their history forever. In the next battle, something happened that no Israelite ever imagined could happen. The Ark of the Covenant, the symbol of God's presence, would fall into the hands of the Philistines. But what happened after the Philistines captured the ark shocked both nations and revealed that no idol could ever stand before the living God. Join me in part 2 as we continue this unforgettable story.